Hey, how's everyone going? How's everyone doing? They should really start calling me the instead of the street philosopher, more like the prediction philosopher. So today I'm going to talk about something that I've been telling a lot of people for years, and everybody basically used to call me a nutso, a crazy. They used to say all that because they truly did not understand what I was seeing. So today I'm going to see if you can understand and you can see how bad we're basically cooked if this is all true. So my assumption is that AI is about to basically ruin all our lives. So in this assumption, we're going to pretend that all the experts are right. I mean, if you look at history, a lot of people thought a lot of things were going to happen and they never did. So let's just assume that they are correct and the math is basically playing out the way that they're saying. So right here, I have a normal distribution chart. If you don't know what that is, that's basically a statistical model where you take a lot of data and then you basically find the mean and then you create basically the chart that you're seeing in front of you. So this chart is the average IQ of the United States. So someone in the United States, let's say 50% of the United States is about 100 IQ. 100 IQ is you're a capable person, right? You're capable of understanding things, you're capable of doing things. 115, you're pretty smart. Once you start getting to the 130 range, I mean, that's what's quote unquote start considering genius. Anything above 130, you're having some thoughts that probably nobody's having. Okay. So if we focus on this, right, so you have to obviously, this data, I could link it so you can see where they got this from. It could be off, let's say 2 or 3 points. It wouldn't make much of a difference. So in the United States, we have 350 million people. Okay. We are going to assume that 50% of them, right, will be 175 million of them will have an IQ less than 100. The reason that I keep telling everyone that we're so cooked is that at the time of recording, the highest IQ, according to Gemini, for these AI models, which are really LLM models, is somewhere in the 130 range. So currently, as we're sitting right now, the machine is smarter than about 84% of the population. Okay. So if the machine is already smarter than 84% of the population, what does that give for the next year or the year after that? What do you think that's going to be? So the way that I see it is that the average person is basically obsolete to me. And the reason why is because, like, I'm an average person. I don't really know what my IQ is. I teach mathematics, right? And I'm just going to say 100. Right this current moment, no matter how much schooling I have ever done or will do in the future, the machine is already better at math than I am. So, like, how do you determine my skill in math? Well, you would determine my skill on how I could solve a problem, how fast I could solve this problem, how well I could solve this problem. I'm telling you right now that the best models of AI can do problems that I will never understand. Okay. So, in theory, as we're speaking right now, the computer is already better at me at math. So then we can go to biology, we can go to accounting, we can go to all these other areas where the computer is significantly more advantageous than anybody. So you can get, like, let's say you're born with 180, well, not 180, that's too much. Let's say you're born, let's say your average IQ is 85, right? You are limited by how much you can possibly do, right? You're not going to be able to be a nuclear physicist and you're not going to be able to solve, quantum mechanics, right? So the computer's already doing that. So the computer is already smarter than you in anything that is obviously logical, right? So the thing I always hear about, blue collar workers is, oh, well, the computer can't replace me. I'm like, listen, man, the computer is already getting to the point that if I take out my camera and I go, hey, AI, where would I put this red and yellow wiring for electricity, right? Right now, we don't have, it's not doing that, right? It's not optimized to do that. But I could see in the next year, maybe two, maybe three, the computer will scan the whole house and be like, okay, well, you're gonna have to put the red and green wire or red and blue wire, whatever color it may be, on this wall. And then it will literally draw pictures of where the wire would go. So, in my opinion, the computer is already more advanced than most people. Like, I think one of my friends was telling me that he got on the on the his like phone AI thing, and he like scanned his motor, and he's like, "Hey, how do I do something?" or "Where's this at?" And the computer knew exactly what he was asking and did it with perfect precision. Yes, I understand the computer can't go in there and all of a sudden, take out the bolt, bolt 13, and I know it can't do that right now. But what I'm saying is that it will eventually do that, and it will do that very fast. Don't believe me? I'll link some videos so you can see what their robots are doing right now. I mean, you can just Google Hyundai AI robots. They're already working at the factory, right? Matter of fact, the union of Hyundai is fighting back for the robots because the union knows that once these robots get sophisticated, let's say in 1, 2, 3, 4 years, they're basically replaced. The future is going to be factories where it's all just going to be robots. Maybe you will have some maintenance people, obviously fixing whatever goes down, but there are going to be no employees. I mean, right now, Amazon's firing, I don't know how many thousands, I think it was like 15 or 16,000 employees, and they're not going to get hired back again because Amazon is already working on basically getting rid of the workforce, right? If you get rid of the workforce, then you don't have to pay people anything, and then you can just mass produce everything. The profit margins go up, and that's pretty much how they're doing it, right? So I want to get into like a future prediction. So I went on my computer. I mean, you can do that yourself too. And I put predictions for the year at the end of the year of 2026. What would be the IQ if current model trends are going the way they are? It literally said 160. 160 is you're getting to Albert Einstein level. So you're telling me that if Albert Einstein, which is one of the fathers of physics, right? If you had an Albert Einstein in anything you've ever wanted, you're able going to do it. So imagine you have the Albert Einstein now in visual models where you scan the house. Let's say I'm going to build my own house. So say, hey, drop a blueprint. Boom, you got the blueprint because you literally have Albert Einstein working for you. Okay. So you can just imagine the speed of robotics, right? Because it's going to go there where the computer is going to be able to solve all the little minutiae of the robots. And then all of a sudden, these robots are talking to you, they're doing stuff, and you're like, how did this happen? Well, this happened because the growth, which most people don't understand because they think linearly. Think about it. It took you about 15 years to understand algebra 2, right? So you took 15 years to get to algebra 2, and the computer got to that in seconds, okay? And then what do you think the computer is going to do in 2 or 3 years? It's just going to get smarter and smarter to a point that you and I and most experts don't even know what's going to happen, because once you hit exponential, you are basically like, let's say, I don't know, one day you got, I don't know, $100, the next day you got $1,000, and then the day after that you got 10,000, and the day after that you got 100,000, and then the next day after that you got 10 million, and you're like, oh well, 10 million then becomes a billion, a trillion, and then you literally cannot understand what's going to happen. So what does 160 IQ look like at the end of this year when it comes to robotics? I mean, I have no idea, but I will tell you that it is going to replace us. It's going to replace me. If 160 IQ, it will replace me. I can sit in front of a class and I teach the class. The machine can probably do that. You can probably have a video model where the video model is interactive, and the students on their laptops will interact with this video model. They can ask it 300 questions, and the computer is never going to get frustrated and answer the 300 questions, right? I am already telling you that the machine is a better teacher than I will ever be. I could be entertaining, I could be personal, I could be everything, but students are very limited in how many questions they can ask me because I only have 50 minutes and I have about 40 or 50 students in the class. I'm just saying, I don't really have 50 students, but I have like 40 students, right? 50 minutes. If I were to answer for 1 minute per student, I don't have enough time to do the lesson and do all this. The computer has the time to sit there with you and answer the 300 million questions that you have. So, right there, I already see my replacement. Most people are oblivious because most people think that no, the computer can't do what I can do. No, man, you need to get rid of that ego and you need to understand that once we start pushing 160 IQ, it's pretty much over for me and you, right? So, like I said, this is all assuming that the computer models are not going to basically, something is not going to go wrong down the line. But I'm telling you right now that the models are basically doubling in, I think it was in either processing speed or basically in how well it could do something every 6 months. So in technology, the energy, the computer chips, the computing power doubles, right? This is doubling every 6 months, so it's a lot faster than what we can imagine is going to happen. Like if you would tell someone in 2010 you are going to have access to a computer that can write essays, can do math, can basically do all these things, they would have literally said, no, I don't think so. I think you're 50 or 60 years away, or maybe 100 years. And then within what, 12, like 16 years, you already have this. Well, and then you have to imagine that this is getting even smarter at a faster rate than 16 years ago. So, I mean, I'm gonna make some crazy predictions, but like I think by 2030, we will have to invent a new economic system. Something because when you have just basically an artificial intelligence that is smarter than every human on the planet, right? If it's going to fix all its problems in the sense of robotics, it's going to, if you ask it, hey, I need you to reproduce or I need you to produce all these things, it's just going to, boom, it's just going to do it, right? So we're not going to need workers because you're just going to have the machines produce as much as you can. And then if you think about economics, supply and demand, which is what the system that we live in, which is capitalism, if you have unlimited supply, then what are things worth? Things aren't worth anything, right? So those are my predictions, right? My prediction is if the current trend is going the way it is going, our lives are literally about to change in a very drastic way, right? This is going to be so fundamental for our health, for our well-being. To, I guess, we should challenge our politicians to basically give us assurance on policies of what our lives are going to look like. Like, I'm going to be honest with you, I used to invest in the S&P 500. That I think it's worthless. I truly think this is worthless because if you have all the machines producing all the work, then why am I worrying about retirement? It's the money's not going to mean anything anymore. And I sound crazy to most people, but if the people that know me know that when COVID happened, I looked at basically the infection rate and I said, well, it's going to go around the whole world. And everybody used to clown me. They used to say, oh, you're crazy. That's not going to happen. In 2021, I would sit in front of people. I would tell my students, I'll be like, hey, we're going to have robots. We are basically, there's going to be mass layoffs because of AI. And everybody thought I was insane until I am not sounding insane anymore. And I guess that's why I'm making this YouTube channel because I have seen what's going to happen because I understand trends and math is it's like trends, right? I understand the logical progression of things and I'm like, well, this is what's going to happen. So I'm telling you tomorrow, there could be a solar flare, there could be a random event, there could be whatever it can, but the math does not lie. If you are doubling every 6 months, by this end of this year, you will reach 160 IQ. The computer, the Gemini itself said that, right? And what I'm saying is that if you count all the people in the United States, which is about approximately, let's say 350 million, you're going to have 0.1% of the population, not 1%, 0.1% of the population that is smarter than the computer which would only theoretically be 35,000 people in the United States that are smarter than this computer. And that's at the end of this year. Okay. So, what do you think would happen in the next 4 years if this trend continues? You are literally going to have basically a super intelligence. There is the CEO of Anthropic. I think he said that within 6 to 12 months, we were going to have the computer make this process called recursion, which is basically it. You can think of recursion as fixing itself, right? It optimizes itself. When that starts happening, I mean, you're going to sit back and you're just going to be like, what is going to go on? And I am telling you right now that the things that are going to go on, you're probably not going to understand it. I am probably not going to understand it. But what we should do is demand that our politicians have a plan for us when all these things, according to the science and according to these specialists, happens. Now, you have to remember, assume the premise that they are right. Now, if they are wrong, well, I'm going to tell you the truth. If they are wrong, we are screwed because we have spent I think it was 1.7 trillion. I don't remember exactly the amount of money that the United States has invested in AI, but I'm sure you can Google it for yourself. I recommend you do that. Never believe anything I say. But we have bet all our eggs on one basket. And if we don't get this super intelligence that is going to, let's say, solve all our human problems, quote unquote, we are going to have a level of depression in this country like never been seen. Because this is true, you can Google this for yourself. 47% of the S&P 500 companies are in AI. And if this fails, the stock market is going to do a nosedive. We are going to have massive layoffs, and we are basically screwed because our government officials have bet all their eggs on this basket. Okay. So I I pray that the premise in which AI does all these beautiful, wonderful things that basically solves all our problems, basically makes money worthless. The amount of supply in the world will be crazy. I guess we would basically win every war at this point because you have a super intelligence. You don't need generals. You don't need any of this stuff, right? But if this fails, you will have a level of depression in the stock market like you've never seen. I am telling you right now. So I don't know if I should title this video, it's either AI make it or break it, or the future of AI. But I am telling you right now that you can call me crazy and come back to this video 2, 3 years from now. But there are only two scenarios. Either we go through the stratosphere with this intelligence, or because our government has invested all our money and all their chances in this, we are screwed. Okay. So, Street Philosopher signing out. Thanks for listening. And what you think in the comment section. Am I completely crazy or I'm on to something? Take care.